Here, a world is clashing. It is the beginning of the end of the League of Nations. Imperturbably, pathetic but purposeful, a small, thin man of great dignity stands before the representatives of the nations assembled in the League at Geneva. Italy had invaded this man's country. The aggressor, Fascist Italy, had stated boldly it was pursuing a sacred mission of civilization. Haile Selassie, the Negus, Lion of Judah, Emperor of Ethiopia, waits until order is at last restored. Now we hear him. In his native tongue, Amharic. I, Haile Selassie I, Emperor of Ethiopia, am here today to claim that justice is due my people, and the assistance promised to it 8 months ago by 52 nations who asserted that an act of aggression. I ask the 52 nations, what are they willing to do for Ethiopia? I ask the great powers, what measures do they intend to take? Representatives of the world, what answer am I to take back to my people?
The answer from the League of Nations was no. They would not interfere with the troops of the fascist dictator. Ethiopia must stand on its own. The proud emperor of this ancient land must fight his own battles or go to live in exile. 31 years ago this month, by that action, the League of Nations sealed its own death warrant. Project 67 presents The Conquering Lion of Judah, a profile study of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, Emperor of Ethiopia.
I'm Bill McNeil. Earlier this year, I had the great pleasure of meeting personally the Lion of Judah when he visited Canada at Expo 67. I rode with him aboard the Royal Train from Winnipeg to North Bay, sat with him in his private car, talked with him about himself and his country, and felt the thrill of meeting face to face an unforgettable figure from the pages of history. This is a story about a man and his country, Selassie of Ethiopia. If you look at the map of Africa, you will find Ethiopia, the country of spectacular mountains and thirsty deserts, covering most of Africa's eastern horn. It is bounded by the Red Sea to the northeast, the Sudan Republic on the north and west, Somalia on the east, and Kenya on the south. It covers an area of about 457,000 square miles, with a population of 22 million, about the same as Canada. Mr. Robert Thompson, former leader of the Social Credit Party in Canada, lived in Ethiopia for 15 years and knows the country inside out. I asked him, Mr. Thompson, what is Ethiopia like?
Well, Ethiopia has been called the Switzerland of Africa. Basically, it is a very large country, comparatively speaking, much bigger than France, as big as British Columbia and Alberta together, bigger than the province of Ontario, with more people than we have in Canada, approximately 22 million. Because it is a mountain country, the climate is moderate. Because it is in the monsoon area, there is a lot of rain, particularly in the high areas. It is an agricultural economy. It is certainly one of the most pleasant countries in Africa, and the Ethiopian people are one of the most pleasant and hospitable people.
Ethiopia is one of the few African countries whose ancient and medieval history is known. From remote times, the so-called Horn of Africa has been inhabited by Hamitic and Sudanese peoples who have for centuries been subject to an influx of Semitic elements from southwestern Arabia. It was from a mixture of this kind that the population originated, that at the beginning of the Christian era established the state of Aksum, ruled by Ethiopian kings, linked to Arabian kingdoms. From the 2nd century B.C., the kingdom of Aksum gradually loosened these ties and became autonomous, and the Ethiopian kings took the title Negus Negusti, or King of Kings. Ethiopians proudly claim 2,000 or 3,000 years of independence. This independence suffered a 5-year break under Italian rule between 1935 and 1941. Ethiopia was hardly heard of outside her frontiers until 1935, when Mussolini invaded it. Towards the end of 1935, Italian aircraft hurled upon the Ethiopian armies bombs of tear gas. Their effects were slight. The soldiers learned to scatter. The Italian aircraft then resorted to mustard gas. Special sprayers were installed on aircraft so that they could vaporize over vast areas of territory a fine, death-dealing rain. Women, children, cattle, rivers, lakes, and pastures were drenched continually with this deadly rain. 31 years ago this week, every newspaper in the world carried stories about the spunky little Ethiopian monarch, Haile Selassie I, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of God, King of Kings, power of the Trinity, Emperor of Ethiopia, who is just over 5 feet tall and weighs 100 pounds, who refused to admit defeat to the Italians, who, with his half-naked, poorly armed warriors, made a last-ditch stand at Addis Ababa against Benito Mussolini's forces. But finally, the emperor had to flee the country with his family. On the 30th of June, 1936, he appealed to the League of Nations in Geneva. During Haile Selassie's recent visit to Canada last April, Bill McNeil interviewed him on his train trip between Winnipeg and North Bay, and first of all asked him about that unforgettable day.
Your Imperial Majesty, I'd like you to talk about your appearance before the League of Nations when you pleaded for your country in 1936.
የተቻለንን ለመዋጋት ቆርጠን ተነሳን። ለምንዋጋበት ብዙ እርዳታ አላገኘንም። ፋሺስት ላደረገው ነገር ለመመከት
Yes, the Ethiopian people, as well as myself, fought as much as we could on the ground, the fascist aggressors. But as it is well known, the fascists were well armed. They had the latest weapons. They had air power. Ethiopia had possessed none. After losing the battle in the front, we thought we should start another battle, a political battle at the League of Nations. You have heard of the speech I have made and of the appeal I have made to the League of Nations in 1936.
Ladies and gentlemen, the second speaker on this is His Majesty the Negus Haile Selassie. Monsieur le Président. Monsieur le...
Italian fascist newspapermen interrupt the Lion of Judah. They whistle, boo, and shout. Other delegates and spectators applaud the emperor.